Let's look at sound. What happens when the auditory system is underdeveloped? Now, the auditory system enables us to hear the world around us and to make sense of it, and to take in instructions and follow them, etc. Auditory and development. If you can imagine, again, I'm going to give you a wee visual here. So, imagine the baby in the womb, and the baby in 5 months in the womb is still able to move about. We know that babies can hear in the womb because there's been studies done on it. And so the baby is up near the mother's heartbeat, and the heartbeat's going ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. And the baby does a flip downwards away from the heartbeat, and the heartbeat is ba-boom, 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 ba-boom. Now, the vestibular system is what detects that difference in tone and in loudness, I suppose, and stores that information so that whenever the baby is born, if the auditory system has been developed properly and the child's sitting on grandpa's knee and mum speaks over here, the child doesn't strain its head that way. The child will strain its head towards the mother's voice because the brain will tell it, the auditory system will tell it where the mother is. Now, more fascinatingly, I find is that when the child's 18 months and they're sitting on grandpa's knee and mum's in the other room, and the child hears the mother talking. The child, if the calculation is right, if the auditory system has been developed properly, the child knows that there's no point in sitting going, Mom, Mom. It knows it has to go, Mom. Because they've heard the voice, the brain's made the calculations to how much force they need to put into their voice in order for the mother to hear them. How fascinating is that at that age, right? But if it's not developed properly, the calculations are out. The child will be sitting going, Mom, Mom, and grandpa's going, you're going to have to speak up, she's in the other room. Or the child's talking really, really loudly, and the grandfather's going, whoa, I'm right beside you. There's no depth of perception, no calculation. Okay? So, and this is where you get the children in the classroom who are shouting out, and you're going, calm it down a bit. But the next day, you're still saying, calm it down a bit. The next minute, you're still saying, calm it down a bit, because they have no depth of perception. Okay, because just simply their auditory system isn't developed properly. Whenever, as a teacher, you know, teachers will come in the morning and say, right, boys and girls, get your maths books out. Turn to page 16. Well, the child who's having difficulty will be down in the bag. They're hoping that they've got the maths book. Let's face it. So they're hooking about, and they come back up, and they're going, what page are we on? And their friend's going, you never listen. And they don't want to ask the teacher anymore because they've already run out of excuses for the teacher as to why they didn't hear what page they're on. So then they sit and they're tapping their pen because they don't know where to start and nobody will tell them. You can see where the bad behaviour starts. Okay? So let me tell you a wee story about my eldest. John did the programme when he was 12. When he was 14, I was sitting having a chat with him one day, and I said to him, John, can you tell me what it was like when you were in the chaos? And he went, God, he says, I remember one day about P5, and he said, I thought to myself, right, I'm really going to try to do it. And listen to this teacher. And he says, every word she said had to swim through like Weetabix in my head. And he says, I finally got the answer, and I put my hand up, only to realise that the class had moved on. Somebody had already answered it, but he'd been that focused on trying to work it out that day that he'd missed, his auditory had turned off, and he'd missed the fact that it had already moved on. And he said to me, he says, this is the important bit, he said, I sat back, Mum, and I went, I really tried there and that still didn't work. He says, so I lifted a rubber and threw it. He says, I think it hit off Lucy's head, so that was me, headmaster's office again. And you can see where obviously the teacher just sees the rubber flying. Of course the teacher just sees the rubber flying, and she's got 32 other kids in the class or whatever he has. But there was a back story there going on, and this is where children can just give up and go, do you know what, I really tried, and there's no point. I can't do it, so I'm not going to do it. And this is where we get a lot of children past the age of 9 with a can't do attitude. They've just turned off because they've really tried and it just doesn't work. Obviously, whenever you're talking to a child, sometimes it can look as if they're not listening. And that can be because they can't use the auditory and the visual senses together. So if you say, look at me when I'm speaking to you, let's face it, we're usually shouting at them at that stage. Look at me when I'm speaking to you. They'll look at you, they'll take in glasses and hair and all your facial expressions probably being cross. But they'll walk away and they'll not have one clue what you just said. Because you told them to look. So they've used their visual, but they had to shut off the auditory in order to have to look. So sometimes you're best, until we get them wired properly, you're best just giving them the instruction on the wing and not making them actually look at you at the same time. You can test that one. You know, you can give an instruction on the wing and then just see if they go and do it. They're more likely to because they weren't overloaded with the thing. So again, misunderstood or bad behaviour, auditory, fascinating tip. That was that's the one I just told you. And how do we develop it? So how do we develop this auditory system? You will have seen from the video that I was throwing the beanbag, hitting the pendulum ball, bouncing super balls. All of these elements were included in the program in order to develop the auditory system, with the auditory system in mind. Each time the beanbag is caught, the pendulum is hit, or a bouncy ball is bounced, a super ball is bounced, it makes a sound, and the ears pick up that sound. As the child develops each skill and they become more controlled and more in time and in rhythm with each skill, the auditory sense develops in a more smooth and processes information in a smooth and controlled way. So as the body moves in a smooth and controlled way, so that the physical or the mental works in a smooth and controlled way. And suddenly the child is getting on with their work instead of looking around the classroom or indeed walking around the classroom, because now they can process what is going on in real time. So that's the sense of auditory. Obviously there's a lot more. I mean, I could go on all day, but I can only give you certain snippets, and I think it's enough to give you a flavour of what we're doing.